I'm trying to get Spotify to put my song in front of a bunch of new people using their music suggestion features. This is Road to Pro Producer, a series where I document my journey creating and releasing music through my artist project. The current goal is 100,000 streams on an independent release. Where we left off, I just hit 6,400 combined streams, or 6.4% of the way to the goal. Last episode, I shared how I built my first ad campaign to promote my song and what the first 10 days looked like. It was by far the most successful form of promotion I've ever done. Today, we're going to see if I can use the same campaign to get on the Spotify algorithm, getting enough traction on my song to where Spotify starts recommending it to their users. So I know not everyone uses Spotify, especially globally. While they do have 187 million paid users, there's basically 7.8 billion, like 98% of the world, who have no idea what I'm talking about here. So let me explain a few things. One of the reasons I like them so much is they have an algorithm and they can recommend songs that you might like. And they do this in two general ways. They've got the generated playlists and they've got radio. I'm going to explain some of this because it's going to be helpful to know where all this stuff is coming from. For the generated playlists, there's Discover Weekly. That one is songs that are new to you. It could have been released at any point. Release Radar, which is songs that are recently released. This is from artists you know and artists you don't know. Daily Mix, which is the songs that you already listened to. These are separated by genre. They'll have like 5 or 6 of them. Daylist, which is a new one. They say it's focused on niche music / micro genres based off the time of day or the day of the week. This is what mine looks like. It's Thursday afternoon right now. This is when I'm working. Sometimes I'll listen to I also know Spotify has a bunch of other playlists basically focused on the things that you already like and then stuff you liked in the past. Second category is radio. This is broken down into 2 sections. We've got autoplay. So when you finish playing like an album, playlist, or a specific song, it's going to keep playing music. Spotify keeps the music going with similar songs. And then the other part they call radio. So this is a collection of songs based off of a specific artist, album, or song. Whatever artist, and then it'll say radio. And it can be saved like a playlist. I personally use this when I'm playing music around other people and I know an artist they like, so you can just press shuffle on similar artists. I find it's easier than finding a specific playlist or a genre of music if you're just trying to find something quick. So now that we know about the Spotify algorithmic recommendation features, I thought I'd share what my starting data looks like. In this first one, it looks like it's combining everything that I just talked about all into one category, and it's the 5th spot right here, Spotify algorithmic playlists, radio, and the other generated Spotify playlists. They also have something called the audience segment view that they list the same info but in a graph form, and they only give it to you for the data of all your songs. But it's still helpful. You see they separate it down here, algorithmic playlists and mixes, and then separately radio and autoplay. So this is another piece of data that I'll be checking to see if my music has kind of entered the algorithm. So the question is, how do we get on the Spotify algorithm? Thankfully, I don't have to answer that question. Andrew Southworth put together an amazing video. We cracked the Spotify algorithm. Thanks to DTNmusic_ for sharing this. Very helpful. So one of the conclusions from this video was if you can hit a popularity index of 30, you can assume that you'll get picked up on this Discover Weekly playlist. Popularity index is explained in the video how it's calculated. Basically, the biggest factor is streams in the last 28 days, and then a smaller one is listeners in the last 28 days. So in order to hit that special mark, the popularity index of 30, you would need 9,200 streams in the last 28 days, which is basically averages out to 328 streams per day. What I'm personally concerned about is that 328 daily streams number. That kind of helps conceptualize where I need to be hitting. And I'm not hitting that right now. I know it's only been like 5 days of the ad campaign really working, but the average for the last 5 days is 178 streams per day. Like, I'm still gaining listeners and saves every day, but the streams aren't accelerating. This is what I'm talking about. This seems to kind of be leveling off, which is kind of concerning. From here, I think we've got like a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. So if we are just looking at the 5 most recent days, it does look more like a plateau. So I put together a projected plays if this pattern continues. Basically, to hit that 9,200 mark in the last 28 days, this is what it would come down to. Day 63, $630 just to get to the Discover Weekly at this rate. I'm not going to be spending that amount of money on this song. So that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is probably going to be compounding streams. It would look more like this on a graph. This one's basically looking at all the days of the campaign rather than just the plateau days, which makes things look a bit more optimistic. And this model's more banking on like people are going to be restreaming it and streams are going to add on top of each other. On day 33, we'd be getting 576 plays per day. Finally enough in that last 28 days to hit the Discover Weekly mark. And that would be $330 spent. which is still a lot, but a lot more reasonable than the last one. If I had to guess, it would probably hit somewhere in between those two. So what can I actually do during this time? One thing I did is I actually turned off the ad set that wasn't performing as well. There's like a general audience that I was sending my music to that I turned that one off because the cost per result was a little high. And I could also turn off the ads that aren't performing as well, but Meta already did that for me. So this is the ad that Meta is really showing a ton of people. You can see when they started optimizing the campaign. I have $10 in ad spend per day, and this is taking up almost all of it. So that basically means Meta's not showing any other ads. This is the only one that they're sending out. So I'm thinking through this and I'm like, what do I do? Do I just like sit around? Am I going to go back to making TikTok content, promoting my song? Do I make a new ad? I don't want to like enter a new learning phase again for the ad and have like resources diverted away from my best performing ad, because this ad and audience already performed the best out of like 12. Also, like, what if it doesn't make the Discover Weekly? When do I call off the ad spend? And even if it is successful, like, when do I call that off? I mean, I am getting plays and listeners. So yeah, that's everything that's going through my head right now. Honestly, what I think I'll do is I'm just gonna make some more music. I don't want to have released just one song this year, so I'm gonna work on that now and kind of monitor the ad campaign and Spotify numbers every day. And if there's something to update, I will. Broski. It's been 23 days and I finally have an update. So I was playing Fortnite the other day with my cousin, and I was trying to explain the concept for this video, and I found a way that makes it a lot more succinct. Basically, half of Spotify is hearing a song that you didn't press play on. So whether that's in a playlist or it's from radio or autoplay, Spotify recommends a ton of music, and being able to get into that recommendation feature is huge. So by running an ad campaign for one song, it can boost those numbers and get into that system, get listed in there. So the update is I finally hit the Discover Weekly playlist. In the meantime, there was a couple things that happened. So on September 16th, my music was added to one of those bogus playlists. It seemed to be added then removed, but it's really easy to spot. This is what it looked like. All of a sudden, it's gone now. Interesting. Well, I wish I had taken a screenshot of it because I think they went private, but basically it ran up the numbers in one day. It would do like 100 or 80 streams on the one playlist, and then they would change the name of the playlist every like few hours. One of them was like Ed Sheeran. I was like, this is weird. Why is my music on an Ed Sheeran playlist? And yeah, it was a fake one. What they're trying to do is get you to like want those streams again. And so you pay for their service to get listed on that. So it seemed to be added, then removed, only got a small bump. Don't really care. It didn't mess up my numbers. The next day, Meta hit me with this notification. It said, you've got a high performing ad compared to other people running the same type of ad. Mine had a better click through. So they said, hey, why don't you just run this up, put more money behind it? And so I did. I doubled my spend to $20 a day. In the end, it's like the same result, but quicker. Like I'll be able to turn it off at the same amount spent, but this way I'll get there quicker, get on Discover Weekly quicker, make this YouTube video quicker. So I saw it as a win-win situation. So yeah, I hit Discover Weekly. It's updated every Monday, and I hit it this Monday. I finally got some streams from that playlist. It was not a lot, but it's a sign that it's working. So it happened on day 32 of the campaign. Remember, day 7 was the day when the campaign was really optimized. So it was 25 days of like an optimized campaign pushing this out. Playlists and made by Spotify. And there we have it, the Discover Weekly. And it's only got 82 plays on there. This is only 3 days of data. Plus, it's the very first time this song has been listed on there. So my exact data on Monday was 8,300 streams in the last 28 and 2,400 listeners in the last 28. So I was kind of under the popularity score for the song to be listed in Discover Weekly, which is probably why it wasn't put in a lot of people's Discover Weekly. It hadn't hit that threshold yet, but it was nice. It gave me a little something. So yeah, trying to get in the Spotify algorithm technically worked. Here's some further proof of that. This is the algorithmic playlist and mixes, and then the radio and autoplay. Algorithmic is this one in pink, and you can see right there on Monday, got a huge boost from that Discover Weekly. This is more up-to-date data. Finally hit 9,200 streams, which is, I guess, the magic number. The source for streams looks a bit different. You can see there's a ton of people playing from my profile, which is a sign that they came here from the ad. And because there was thousands of people playing my song from my profile and then re-listening to it, it looks like the Spotify algorithmic playlist is way down, but I'm pretty sure it's way more. The total of these is way more than when I started. Another interesting thing is where all these streams are coming from. And for the most part, it's the US and Mexico almost tied. And then Malaysia, Brazil, and Canada. I didn't expect Mexico, Malaysia, Brazil, especially because it's English. The song is English. So my guess is that Meta saw that it was a lot easier to get clicks in those areas, but also had some sort of effect on this. I'm learning Spanish right now, and I have been for a while. And so when people started commenting, like 1 or 2 people commented in Spanish, I started replying in Spanish on all of these comments. My guess is once people saw I was responding in Spanish, and also like I have a Spanish last name, more and more people commented in Spanish, and the extra engagement in that language, my guess is why it was also pushed a ton, because Mexico wasn't even high up on the list. I don't think it was anywhere close to the top 5. This was huge for my Apple Music. There was a lot of people came in, and people love Shazamming this song too. Other stuff happened that I didn't expect. One of them was an increase in my Instagram following, because I ran this on Instagram. So it went from like 470 to 700. And I'm not the guy who keeps an eye on the ratio, but it was basically 1-to-1, 400 following and like 400 followers. And now I look like a micro celebrity, I guess. Also, got a new record of 9 active currently listening. I feel like I'm updating that every time I make a video now. Another thing I didn't expect is for the ad performance to go down. So the cost went up because it was harder to get people to click on it. It went from 11 cents to 24 cents. And this is like a true cost per conversion, where I take the total amount of money I spent and then divide that by the amount of clicks on Toned In. So yeah, I did turn the ad off after spending about $500, which is yikes. I didn't expect I would spend that much money, but it also worked. So what can you say? Like, I didn't want to stop a good thing. So it turned out that the best case scenario was the one that was more correct, where I finally hit that Discover Weekly in the early 30-day range. So yeah, this is what the average line looked like over the course of this ad campaign. Our all-time streams, 14,000 plus 1,673, and we've got 16,150, 16% of the way to the goal. That is crazy. It's time to enter a new monthly listener count to the rank tracker. Let's do it. 3,424. And I'm really excited about that because I know we've got an off-the-charts success right here. I've got to change this over here because that's how successful it was. So we're setting the new bounds. Let's go 750 and 5,000. So yeah, these are the ranks. The silver 3 right here, the gold 1, and finally made it to gold 2. We're not in gold 1 no more, but this is probably going to be the peak. Yeah, it's probably going to go down from here. I'm celebrating the dub while we've got it. I really like the rank tracker because it kind of helps me take a step back and see how far I've come. I've been checking Spotify daily, every single day for like the past 30 days in pursuit of that Discover Weekly achievement. I kind of lost sight of the fact that I'm actually growing my listener base as an artist. And I think that's really cool. It does seem like one of those things where it's like, if only I got this, then I'd be happy. Now that I finally got it, I mean, it's not much. And it seems like there's always something bigger to be looking forward to or something bigger to be worried about. So it's kind of hard to take time to be happy about this one. But yeah, that's just how I'm feeling. I always like to end these videos thinking about the future. Like what's the next thing? What's the conclusion for this video? And this is it. Hopefully all the people who I reached in the campaign keep restreaming my song so it can like stay in the Spotify algorithm for a while. I mean, it would really suck for it to be in there for 1 week and then I just stopped because like I had to cut the ad spend at some point. In 500 was about the limit for me. The new listeners falling off a cliff is going to be tough to see. I track it with the new saves. So I know that this is going to fall off a cliff, the new saves, but the campaign can't go on forever. So I got to be okay with it. Part of the reason why I wanted to do this series is I wanted someone to take me through as they were learning too. I wanted to know that someone else didn't know what they were doing too in the beginning and just figured it out as they went along. I feel like there's always this wall with artists where they just don't show the moves as they're making as they're doing it, not really like showing that they're doubting the moves that they're making until it finally works out. This is kind of the result of it, where it's like I really don't know what I'm going to do next after this. I feel like I'm out of moves. I don't know the next thing. Hopefully we'll look back on this moment and think, oh wow, that's cool that he didn't know what he was doing in that moment. I feel like I can do it now too. So yeah, hopefully that Discover Weekly has like a serious kick the next week, or else I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.